Good afternoon. Welcome to GE 6102, the Contemporary World. Today's topic is the global interstate system. The learning outcomes, number one, explain the effects of globalization on nation states or on governments. Identify the institutions that govern international relations. Number three, differentiate internationalism from globalism. And number four, explain the relevance of the state amid globalization. The topic for today would be to analyze the dynamics of the transnational cooperation and how governments are affected by globalization. Now, let us first define what is a state. It is a compulsory political organization with a centralized government that maintains the legitimate use of force within a certain territory. But on the other hand, the concept of nation emphasizes the organic ties that hold groups of people together and inspire a sense of loyalty and belongingness. Like ethnicity, the language, religion, and the like. And so combining them to a nation state can then be defined as the political community that emanates from civic society to legitimately execute peace. And so the civic society is the basis of the people's oneness. Now, there are many claims that globalization has superseded the individual function of nation states, but it is still arguable because they still play vital roles in the way globalization establishes a borderless world. Because nation state can manipulate competitive advantages with international and political issues. And even multinational group companies. But we can say that they are also accountable for some international norms and standards, and found themselves in subordinate positions to protect their economy. And so we can say that if nation states has no longer have the power into the globalized world, then why does the United States, with its increasing number of states, remain relevant in global decision making? I think for now there are about 194 member states of UN. That would say that globalization has affected the dynamics of nation states in the context of their agency as legitimate holders of force in their jurisdiction. So we can say that globalization has, in a way, reshaped the role and functions of nation states as governing bodies in their particular territories. Because what? Globalization is seen to impose a forced choice upon nation states. Either they conform to free market principles for privatization and free trade. Now we can say that nation states are forced to the demands of the globally accepted free market principles. They say that the nation states are in danger of losing important elements of in terms of economic. But we can say that nation states still exist, but they lost their part or integral part into their economic development. And we were talking of global corporation last time, and let global corporations control their economic movements. For example, the member states of ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which of course that includes the Philippines. They established the ASEAN Free Trade, or AFTA. And in 1999, its goal is to encourage the member states of the ASEAN to deepen their commitments in investments, in trade, and their collaboration in an industry to increase the region's economic activity. Also, we can say that globalization established economic and political integrations, because one good example of that is the European Union and the North America Free Trade, or the NAFTA. Later on, we will discuss what are the roles of this European Union and ASEAN. You know, European Union has become a supranational body with 28 members. Note of the term supranatural. And we know that they have a single currency and monetary system among 7 states. Also, globalization established international laws and principles. Because you can see this in the establishment of the United Nations. That the United Nations is actually a forum for nation states to air their differences, and so they try to resolve them. The UN Security Council has powers that include the creation of peacekeeping operations and international sanctions. And of course, you have been hearing the ICC, the United Nations International Criminal Court, that would prosecute individual accused of crimes against humanity. And you've heard that in the news. So the founding of the International Criminal Court is based on the adoption of the previous International Criminal Court. But we've heard that Philippines is not a part of it anymore. But to top it all, China and India are not signatories. but take note also that it is not binding to economic powers. So the next one, what is the another effect of globalization is that globalization initiates the rise of transnational activism. An example of this is the advocacy-based organization, for example, in the Philippines, that that would that would connect and get support from other human rights groups in Europe, for example, to pressure the Philippine government to realign its actions in upholding human rights. The next one is that globalization created new communication network, which is obviously globalization binds communities through digital media. And because of these new technological or new technologies in communications, political interaction can happen in a virtual sphere. People can exchange political perspectives through the internet. And so because of this, it would stir political discourse on an online platform. And so there are actually international government organizations to facilitate connections among nation states. And these are the IGOs, or the intergovernmental organizations. The aim of IGO is to foster strong economic, political, cultural, educational, and technical intergovernmental relationships. These are the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, European Union or EU, and the World Trade Organizations. These are just the examples of the IGOs. Now, the ASEAN, which was established in 1967, has now 10 member states. The ASEAN aims are, number one, to accelerate economic growth. Not only that, but also to accelerate social progress and cultural development in the region. ASEAN also promote regional progression. Also, it it aims to advance peace and sustainability. Also, ASEAN aims for these 10 member states to promote active and beneficial cooperation and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in the economic, cultural, and scientific fields and others. ASEAN also aims to provide assistance to each other in the framework of training and research, even professional, technical, and administrative spheres. Of course, this aims to work hand in hand for more effective and greater agriculture, use of agriculture and industries. As I've said a while ago, this aims to advance Southeast Asian research and also to preserve close and beneficial collaboration with current international and regional institutions with similar aims and purposes. So, what are the members of the ASEAN? Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. Now, another IGO is the European Union. It has 28 state members, which was established in November 1993. And they have the following goals. Number one, to promote peace, its values, and the well-being of its citizens. Number two, offer freedom, security, and justice without internal borders. Number three, uphold sustainable development. Number four, combat social exclusion and discrimination. Number five, promote scientific and technological progress. Number six, enhance economic, social, and territorial cohesion and solidarity among member countries. Number seven, respect cultural and linguistic diversity. And number eight, establish an economic and monetary union. Well, the World Trade Organization has 164 member states. I'm sorry, it should be a World Trade Organization or WTO, not ASEAN. It has 164 member states. Actually, the World Trade Organization, it is the only IGO that promotes to rules of trade on global scale. Because if you will notice, ASEAN is for the 10 member states only. The EU is for the 28 states, specifically for Europe. But this World Trade Organization has 164 member states. And its objective is to ensure that trade runs as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. And also, it encourages trade by lowering trade barriers that may hinder how products and services flow from nation to nation. So there are other examples of IGO, as I've mentioned a while ago. The International Criminal Court, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. all of these IGOs or international government organizations serve purposes based on the common interests of their member states that is deemed beneficial to all the parties involved. Now, the continuous or the intensification of relations among nation states give birth to the term internationalism and globalism. When you say internationalism, it is the theory and practice of independent collaboration, while globalism is an attitude. Now, to define internationalism, it is basically anchored on the opinion that nationalism should be outrun because the links that bind the people of different countries are more powerful than those that disconnect them. Now, what about globalism? Globalism, on the other hand, emerged as an attitude that seeks to understand all the interconnections of the modern world and to highlight patterns that underlie them. Its purpose is to describe and explain that the world is actually characterized by connections, network of connections that span multi-continental distances. So in other words, and to conclude, the global interstate system is a facet of contemporary political globalization that seeks to form collaboration among nation states, to form through the establishment of intergovernmental organizations. So global interstate system is rooted on the idea of internationalism. And experts on interstate relations cannot discount the numerous effects of these on the rise of new communication networks utilized by the government. So the module offers a wide range of idea on, especially on the definition of economic globalization, and also of course, we've discussed the roles of the United Nations. What are the factors that affect the global economic globalization, and also the effects of globalization on governments. What are the roles of the United Nations that we've discussed a while ago. So basically, the module, at the end of the module, there is also list of supplementary reading materials, which also you might want to access. And these are the books and journals for additional information about the topic for today.